this is the derivation of Clara Berner. Now, the initial equations is pretty simple. It's just CB, Clara Berner, equals the integral from 0 to AOD of VEI. Now, where it gets a little confusing is when we have to derive these individual variables. Now, the AOD stands for age of death. And age of death for anyone, anyone who is less than 30, we all believe we're going to live forever, so that's going to be assumed to be infinity. B is background. This is my background as Clara Berner. This is FPS squared plus G plus ST. Now, F is the family factor. Family factor is Krauss, on the maternal Krauss side, times distance to my relative immediate family. This is going to be made up of about 14 cousins, 6 times 2 aunts and uncles, lumber family background, and constantly overdressed, always, constantly. Every single equation, do not show up without being in a dress. Now this is plus B, which is the Berner side, paternal side, to the L, which is loudness factor. L is the ratio of loudness over room size. The smaller the room size, the bigger the loudness. And this is also relative distance to my local family. This family, for instance, the distance factor is relatively high. They're all in Oregon. This distance, they're all in Seattle. So 2-hour drive, which once again means you see them about once or twice a year. Okay, now that you have your family factor, the rest of the equation is P for parentals times siblings squared, because that's an exponential irritation factor, plus a girlfriend, which, by the way, if college is greater than 4 years, that equals M automatically, which just stands for marriage. Now, once we get to ST, this is the small town factor, quite defined by this. This is directly derived from the number of cows in town. So, as you can imagine, in Snohomish, which is Snohomish, Washington, where I'm from, it's aka Golden with a lot of trees. This factor is very, very big. There's a lot of cows. Now, when we go back, we have our B. Awesome, check. Now we have our E equation. This is experience level. This is equal to college times to the integral of, to the exponential of junior year minus the unqualified, UQ, over work experience, which in this case is about a summer or a fall internship at Ware Malcolm, and a summer working at housekeeping. So as you can see, this is very, very small factor. This is a very large factor. Right now, this number is less than 0. Now, if we add an M for masters, this number could, if I'm lucky, be equal to 0, at which case hireability equals possible. And that's what we're aiming for right there. Hireability equals possible. Not sure if it's going to work, but, you know, there's a small chance. Now we have our E taken care of, our experience, and last finally is our interest level. This is the interesting factor of Clara Berner. This is how interesting I am. This is A for initial awesomeness times E to the negative 1/4 4 years of college. That might increase if I get a master's. Times the time factor, which is time in the school. As time factor goes on, the cosine of MT, music times time, plus horses. These are 2 pretty big defining factors in my life. Now, as you can see from this function, this is a damp sinusoidal wave that decreases as time in school increases, finally to 0. These peaks are, of course, during breaks, these positive peaks. The 0 factor is middle of the semester, and the negative values are finals and midterms. This is, you know, when interest factor becomes negative. She's a very non-interesting person. But as you can see, during breaks, interest factor goes way up. So there's some complexity here in this graph. So, you know, that defines me, Clara Berner. Thank you so much. Oh, forgot to tell you what this ends up as. So now, since this equation often goes to infinity, what you tend to find when you figure out all these numbers and put it in is that you get an undefined function, which aka is equal to eternal existential crisis. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend, guys.